Elliott! Sideline! Touchdown!
It's picked off! It's picked off! It's Tracy
Well, before we came on, we were talking about the NIL college football deals that's getting out of control, and I was telling you guys they're already saying for next year, the Super 5 schools basically and all their little collectives that are getting involved are raising close to $500 million. I think this is ruining the sport of college football. I really do. I don't think these players should be making that kind of money. There's a report out there that I was reading to you guys that Xavier Worthy, who plays for the University of Texas, is being recruited to leave Texas and offered a massive six-figure deal to leave that school. I think at some point,
where's he going?
They didn't say who's offering him, but at some point you got to be breaking rules. I mean, the kid's already committed to college at Texas. He's playing for Texas. He's not in the transfer protocol. There should be a guideline where you can't go out and. I mean, that's ridiculous. You're gonna ruin these kids, and you're gonna put money in front of education, which is sad.
I mean, let's be real. Those players there aren't. I can't speak for all of them, but probably 80% of those kids aren't there for education.
I understand that, Tom.
That's another factor, too.
I understand that. But you know what? What's his name? Jameis Winston just went back to school to finish his degree. That's what you want to see.
He did.
You want to see these kids. It took them 7 years, but you want to see these kids get their degrees. I mean, they're getting free college. They're getting full rides. Now you're going to offer these kids six-figure deals? Education isn't going to matter anymore, and that's crazy.
No.
Yeah, and I can see how that can get crazy then, because it's like, all right, if you're that school, are you like, all right, well, now we need to offer an even bigger deal? Like, I'm all for these kids. I'm all for these kids getting money if the school is making money off their name, right? Selling jerseys, all that other crap. But this is it's like almost like the pros, like we're negotiating now. Like, hey, I can't trade for you, but I'll give you some more money if you come play for our school and help us be good.
Now, this is a quote. It says, in a matter of months, NIL has shifted from here's what you can get to here's what you're going to get. 5 stars are the new first-rounders of college football. These kids are it's just, you know what? I feel bad for small-time colleges. That's what I feel bad for. That can't afford to have these boosters and these collectives that gain $6, $7, $8 million. They're saying some of these collectives are averaging over $10 million collected, and that's what they're coming to the programs with. It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, like these small schools, like if you look at this year's draft, like you see a lot of guys get drafted from colleges that I haven't really even heard of, or schools you don't really hear about on ESPN or Bleacher Report. So it's like these guys are transferring, and a lot of these guys don't even get drafted.
Yep.
But you know what's funny? Recruiting went from, hey, we can give you a great scholarship. We're going to give you a full ride for education to, okay, let's skip all that shit. How much are you going to offer me? Oh, Michigan's giving me $1 million. Oh, but Alabama's going to give me $6 million. Where do you think these kids are going to go?
Man, I'd be like, you give me a full ride of education, so I have no student loans, and you throw in a brand new truck.
Well, and that's the thing. What do they care about? Because we talked about this too. I think they care about the jersey, and to some degree the brand, and like sadly I think it'll be a mix, but I think a majority are going to care about the money, but also like the brand, the history, the jersey wearing,
like I feel like I feel like a lot of the swag of the school too can be convincing. Like if I'm looking, if I have options with 3 schools, I'm looking at, all right, which one has a good crazy crowd? We're on a nice Saturday night. Like crowd. It's gonna be bumping in there. What school has some good uniforms? Like I want to look good in these uniforms. And honestly, if you're thinking about it, like, yeah, education's, I think I just said it too. Education's important to some of these kids, but like I'm telling you, man, like people who right off the noggin think I got a good chance of going pro, they don't care about education. I don't care what kind of education program you have, coach. I want to know if I'm going to be able to start. I'm going to know what you're going to do to help me get in there and get to the pros.
But see,
I think that translates to any. Sorry, I think that translates to any player or any sport too, to some degree.
But let me ask you this, guys: if you go to college and you say you're dirt poor, you go to college and you make let's just say $5-6 million. Are you going to play hard enough to go to the pros because you're already set financially? You think about it.
I think I would because I'd get a little taste of that money.
But is it going to ruin? Is it going to ruin the college sport?
I'd be like, I can get some more. See, yeah, and that's one. I think I'm on the fence because I think one reason I really love college football is a lot of these kids aren't getting paid yet, so they have this huge fight in them to get to the next level to win, and that's why you see so many teams that only have like 3 losses or 2 losses or 4 losses, rather than the NFL. There's like 5 teams that have like 3 wins.
You know, and it's already.
So do we have to blame rivals? Do we have to blame rivals and all these rating sites that would just mark high schoolers up or middle schoolers up? Do we have to like blame them for some of this too?
And I just think it's a new generation. I just think it's a whole new system, whole new type of game that we're going into.
But new's not good. Yeah, I mean, it's not good at all. You think about it. You got kids that are skipping the combine because they're already seeing on paper they're going to be in the top 10 of the first round or the top 20 of the first round. So why should I go out and exert myself? You see guys not running the 40-yard dash. You see guys not getting their hand size. It's ruining the game.
In a large scale, you're seeing it across all sports where the competitive balance a lot of times is like diminishing, where players are resting a lot more. There's I guess you could say that opens spots up for others, but realistically it's not like you're adding. If some dude rests, it's not like you can say, oh, let's pick some guy up from at least not in the minor or at least not in the professional sport. You can't just promote somebody because some dude wants to rest. So the competitive balance shifts a lot with this, and with big factors with college where guys can pull out of these contracts, or if you're allowing here's the misnomer. If you allow a coach to just leave and up and go coach another program, why can't a player do it too, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's where it started, and now it's gotten to this point where Waffle House should be sponsoring all college linemen in sports.
Well,
all college linemen should be sponsored by Waffle House.
Well, I was telling you guys before we came on, and I said that there's like 14 or so teams that are talking with the SEC. They want to form a super conference. Well, guess what? Michigan, Penn State, teams like that want to get in this conference. If you're not in that conference, you're not in that pack of making all that money, you're the outcast. Like the Pac-12, these other conferences. I mean, what is it? Conference USA? They're folding. All those teams are going to a new conference. I mean, it's going to be survival of the fittest, and if these teams don't make it, these colleges aren't going to have programs.
Yeah, man, and I feel like I get both sides. Like we're talking about college, but I mean, you take it to a professional level with baseball, football, basketball, whatever it is. Like as a fan, I want to see the players on my team compete at the highest level and work hard for a win, because like I feel like every fan at the end of the day wants a World Series, they want a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. But I also get it, like, if I was a player and say I was on a sucky team or say I had this max contract, I'm going to play. I'm going to play hard, man. But I don't know. Like, I feel like, if I got a family and my team's not playing too great, like, I'm not going to play my hardest and risk injury and never get to play. I don't know, like, exactly how I'm trying to say it, but, like, I feel like I get both sides. Like, at the end of the day, if I was a player, I'm trying to get as much money as I can to provide for my family, provide for my future.
But you're also doing that with an education.
Yeah. I kind of wasn't really talking about the education part. I kind of passed that for a second.
But because everyone forgets about that now. You're making money in school. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, these kids are getting $100,000 free rides in school for education. Education has to be first. That's why the United States, as far as statistics go, we're last in everything almost, basically, against the world as far as math, reading, the whole 9 yards. Because nobody cares about education anymore.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
That's true.
I think everyone has that itch. I think everyone has that itch to get to the pros, man. I think, like, if you're in 2 years in college, if you're in 3, say you have a Heisman year, your third year in a college, and you got people in here that are saying, man, you're going to go in the first 10 picks. Like, I mean, let's be real, 99% of us are probably like, all right, let's go do it. I mean, it's rare that you're going to see someone now go, I know I had a Heisman year, but I'm going to go back and finish one more year of college. I mean, it's great if they do it. Like, I feel like I'd really think about it, because obviously with how many people are getting injured nowadays, I feel like having a background in education or something is very important to fall back on. But I don't know, man. If I had someone in my ear telling me I'm going to get drafted in the top 10, I'm probably going for it.
Yeah, but that's the problem, though. There's a lot of people that are hearing that. Oh, you might get this, you might get that, and a lot of the times these kids get used. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean,
and now it's going to be more apparent in college, too, where athletes are going to get used. Think about, there's going to be reports coming out about X company didn't pay X athlete because they didn't honor their contract or something.
Let's face
college.
it too.
Like, sorry, real quick. One other thing. If I was a company, I would sign this person and say, hey, if we want you, if we're signing you, but we're signing you for an X number of year deal. So if you're not here, you're only going to get what you put into it, like this year's worth, you know?
Yeah, I can only imagine what Arch Manning's been offered. You know, he's going to be like the number one quarterback in college football. And the kid's like a junior. I think he's going into a senior year. But the problem is education still has to be first no matter what, because you know what? At the end of the day, if you turn into a business, if this kid goes there and he has a full scholarship, he blows his knee out, he's still going to get to finish school. But if you get an NIL deal and you get injured, how do you know they're not going to cancel that deal? And now guess what? You have nothing.
Yep.
And if the school didn't give you a scholarship because you came in on the NIL deal, because I'm sure they're not piggybacking. I'm sure they're giving him some kind of scholarship, but I'm sure they're not giving him a full ride plus giving him let's say $2 million deal. It's crazy.
It is crazy, man. It's crazy. I don't think it's going to change. I know you talk about education be first, and I kind of agree with you, but I don't think you're going to see a change.
But as a parent, you'll understand one day education should be first, because you can't. Look at Saquon. Saquon was the star around here. Went to college, was a star. Went to the NFL, got hurt, hasn't done crap.
And I'm agreeing with you.
Education
but I just don't
has to be
think you're going to
first.
see a change.
I know you're not. You're not. It's the new world. It's the new way. I mean, you're seeing it in basketball.
To be contrarian too, though, Chris, he could look at it as like, well, hey, I have a big enough social media brand that people, no matter what, I could quit today and people are gonna still follow me, I guess.
He can, because he was drafted in the top 5. So he was guaranteed all that money plus Nike and all those other deals that he got.
Yeah.
But the guys that don't go in the top 5, you know.
Yeah, but that's why you also have and you see that where people get injured or get cut and they don't know through their life, and you see people like Jarvis Johnson we've had on this podcast who start programs to try and help these young athletes learn from this and have opportunities after this to get a job or to learn where to go next.
Perfect example, and I'll give it to you right now. There's 7 Cowboys who were drafted, that weren't drafted, they were picked up undrafted. They ranked in the top 100 of the draft. Ranked in the top 100, they didn't get drafted at all. Now, somebody was whispering in their ear telling them they're good, they're really, really, really good. Guess what? They didn't get drafted. They got picked up undrafted, so they signed like a $15,000 to a $200,000 deal now. But education should come first, because now guess what? If they don't make the Cowboys roster, guess what? Now you're gonna see them on that TV show, undrafted, you know, and you're gonna see their story. But what happens next? Guess what? Now Johnny has to go back to college, and he's probably gonna have to pay for his college now, because he needs a degree. That's why these kids. That's why the NFL should put their foot down and say we're not taking any kids unless they finish 4 years of college.
I agree.
Shout out to Northern Iowa, Tennessee, Chattanooga, and North Dakota State. They were the top 3 programs to have players drafted.
Yeah,
let's go, man.
Hey,
schools you don't
we talked about University of
Speaking
Texas.
of small schools,
University of Texas had nobody drafted in the first round this year.
Yeah, man,
it's crazy.
So that's an interesting question that Chris, like I think we should tie this up here, but just that thought of like small schools, how they're going to survive, because I think some of these programs, like North Dakota State's, built a pretty good program. So,
well,
I feel like it's a tough call, but I feel like some of these schools will survive just because you'll always have players that will back up plan. Like, hey, I didn't get the offer from the school, so I could just go play like a year here or 2 years here, and then go get the big offer. But speaking of the draft, the draft was last week.
Real quick. Here's the 7 names. Here's the 7 names of the people that are on the Dallas Cowboys that went undrafted that are in the top 100.
We were just going to go in the draft anyway.
He's a safety from Florida A&M. Big Cat, Brian Edge from the University of Central Florida. Jawan Thomas, safety from Georgia Tech. All these kids led their divisions in tackles and everything else. So these are good kids, you know. Isaac Taylor Stewart, cornerback, USC. Tyler Frogel, the receiver from Indiana. He was ranked in the top 100, didn't get drafted. Cowboys picked him up as an undrafted free agent.
I don't know who that dude. Well, I don't know who that guy is.
That's good, man. The draft, obviously it was last Thursday. How did you guys watch the draft? Did you enjoy the draft?
Absolutely.
Did you live up to all the expectations that you had for your teams? Because I feel like that draft was once trades started happening, I feel like every trade in the book happened. I feel like everything was heating up. People were going off the board.
It was unpredictable.
A lot of receivers fell.
Unpredictable.
Loved it. I mostly watched the latter half of Thursdays, the first round, just because the Vikings had that later pick. So,
yeah, man.
Let's talk about that
like
because Ty was bashing
Saints?
about the Minnesota Vikings going back instead of forward.
Yeah, but okay, I think they liked Cine better than Hamilton.
You think?
Because they could have gotten Hamilton.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was my view. I called my dad on the phone today. I said, because I was doing a little homework, I was like, dang, like the Vikings had a 12th pick. They traded down 20 spots with the Lions, right? So you skip on Hamilton and you draft, how do you say it, Kane? Is that how you say his last name? What did you say?
I think it's Lewis Cine.
Safety spot. You could have drafted safety with Hamilton. So it's like, your new GM, it's like, if I was a Vikings fan, and I can't speak for the Vikings fans, because you're Vikings fans, but I would have personally, just off preference, I would be like, all right, well, Hamilton's right there at 12. Oh, cool. Like we traded back. Well, let's see who we go. Oh, we took a safety. Well, we could have took a safety with a 12th pick.
Ace,
I'd love to get Rudy's opinion.
I'm all on Minnesota's side. I really am. You take Hamilton, you're paying him the big bucks in 4 years. You got this Kane kid. You traded back. You probably picked up an extra second round or third round pick along with that. You're almost giving him second round money.
Steve, my argument with you though is you're going to pay this guy in 4 years. Yeah, but if this Kane, however you say his last name, if he's good, if he shines, you're paying him in 4 years too.
No, it changes, Ty. It changes.
It doesn't change if
it does.
If he stands out and has an amazing. Look at Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara was a 4th round pick, and he got a huge contract deal.
But that comes down to the team, Ty. Yeah. You can always throw in Dak Prescott's face, hey, you weren't in the first round, second round, third round. But I think Dak's barely making $40 million. He's not making the $45 to $48 million.
So I got a big deal, though.
But I'm just saying, it makes, as a GM, it makes more sense, Ty. If you have two guys who are identical on paper, why do I take him at the number 10 spot where you're going to sign him to his rookie deal for more money than you're going to sign a guy at 32? His first deal, Saquon's deal was like, what, $50 million? Now you get Saquon at 32. You're not giving him $50 million for his rookie deal. You're giving him 15 to 20, maybe that. That matters.
Yeah, that's true.
I hope this Georgia guy works out for the Vikings. All I'm saying is if I was a new GM, if I was a Vikings fan, I was up with the board 12th pick, and I knew if I was going to trade back, I was going to take a safety anyway. I'm taking the best safety right there at 12. Why not? That's just how I viewed it.
Well,
I'm not bashing this guy. This guy was good at Georgia. I'm just saying, like, you trade down 20 spots, take the same exact spot that you could have took at 12 and maybe even a better version of him. That's how I was viewing it.
Maybe the scouts think this guy is better on paper.
Yep, and not only because this is why I'd love to see what Rudy has to say too. But I think personally, I don't know what our GM and I'm going to go with their gut that if they assumed, hey, these guys are similar in talent, we can get this guy later in the round. Like Chris said, we're going to save a lot because we're short on salary cap anyways. So they're going to be paying this guy. I don't know what the pay scale is, but it's slotted now. Like,
let me ask you a question, Ace, too.
Yeah.
Now, you took a safety with your first pick. Now, you still have Harrison Smith and you have Cam, right? So you have some good depth at safety. Was a safety position that you felt like you guys needed with your first pick? I mean, they might move him in a slot QB. I mean, they might move this guy around, be creative with it. But just curious as a Vikings fan, I'm not a Vikings fan. I was looking at this and I was like, well, they already have two safeties, so why would you take safety in the first round? Like, were you expecting a safety? Were you expecting something else?
I thought maybe corner or I assume defense because even. Like, I know it's a different regime, but Spielman for forever has drafted defense. So I feel like that's maybe partly ownership too, or like overall philosophy. I don't know. But
it says that position was weak.
I wanted the cornerback Derek Stingley, but when he went early, I had a feeling they'd just go to safety. And it would be that Hamilton. It would be I haven't heard of this Lewis Cine until he pretty much got drafted, really.
Well, the Vikings allowed
to be the best, though.
The Vikings allowed the 5th most passing yards last year, so they addressed a position of need.
Hey, and
we
sometimes
got
that works out to be
D-tackles.
the best, man, is when you draft someone you don't know, you didn't rehearse. Sometimes it works out. But we'll discuss your second round pick, and then we'll move on to the Cowboys. In round 2, you did take a cornerback that you felt like you needed. Clemson quarterback Andrew Booth, and they said it was a very good pick. Very good chance he starts. If not, he'll get a lot of playing time. Like he just said, 5th most passing yards you guys allowed. This, to me, looks like a really good pick for you. But you're obviously the Vikings fan. This is your corner. This is your time. Do you think this was a good pick for you guys?
Yeah, especially because we re-signed Patrick Peterson. So, in general, being able to learn under a veteran is going to be huge for this guy. So we ended up, I guess, knowing that we re-signed and signed like that Harrison Phillips from the Bills. We signed him at D-tackle. Knowing we shored up some of the D-tackle, we needed cornerback safety. So in any combination, because Harrison Smith, as great as he is, he's 30,
getting old.
or 33, sadly. And I think that Cine will be able to play a nickel, I assume, or a little. I guess I have no clue how they're going to fit him into the team.
By the way, hold on a second. According to NFL.com, Cine is number 2 on the depth chart behind Harrison Smith.
There you go.
Wow.
There you go.
So he's
Looks like a good
he's
pick.
the future. He's the future for them.
Overall,
Well, here,
Ace, if you had to give the draft a grade for the Vikings fans that are if we have more than one Vikings fan, obviously we're using, what grade would you truthfully give to the Vikings out there?
Oh man, B. I think overall it was solid. B+. I thought overall we did a really good job of getting like what seemed to be athletes and like smart players.
Yeah.
And also we traded, so the Lions and the Packers picks, they both drafted receivers those were our first 2 picks. So we traded down on both picks, right? For our first 2 picks, and we traded with the Lions and the Packers, and they both drafted receivers. So it was almost like
the Lions and the Jets, they had some good, especially the Jets. They had some really good draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
And there's somebody in your division, I believe, that drafted Dalvin Cook's brother. I don't know if it was the Bears or if it was the Lions. I think it was the Bears. Totally not sure on that, but I thought that was cool because they'd see each other throughout the year. But let's move on to the Dallas Cowboys. Dad, obviously there was a lot to address this offseason for you. Offensive line help, wide receiver help. You lost, obviously, Amari Cooper. Was it Cedric Wilson you also lost?
Mm-hmm.
Gallup's coming off an injury. Connor Williams. First pick, obviously late in the night, round 1, pick 24. Dallas on the clock. Offensive tackle, Tulsa, Tyler Smith. You like it, yes or no?
I love it. It's a kid who's 21 years old. He's only played 18 games at the position. He can play any position on the offensive line. He's young. He's coachable. He's going to be the future and probably take over for Tyron Smith, when he retires. Everyone's bashing him,
Tyron
saying
Smith hasn't played
Go ahead.
I would say Tyron Smith hasn't played a full season since 2015, and he is 31. So they're saying this could either be the future, replacing for Tyron Smith. The last time Dallas has drafted a lineman in the late rounds was Travis Frederick, and we all know how that turned out. Obviously, he was a star Pro Bowler, I think 8-time Pro Bowler. But
I mean, Lindenbaum was there. He could have been picked up as a center, but we got a center last year, Tyler Biotish. I think in a whole, the offensive line is young. They really didn't play a lot together last year. There's so many different varieties of offensive line because of what was going on with La'el Collins and Connor Williams. The downside to this kid being drafted is he had 16 penalties. 12 of them were for holding. So that's got to get cleaned up. Otherwise, we just drafted another Connor Williams. But I love it. I love the pick. He's a badass kid who he's gonna bully people, and he's not gonna take anyone's crap. So I love it. He's a well-spoken young man, and I think it's gonna bolster the run game. And we actually got we got another kid on the offensive line too. We got Matt. I can't pronounce his last name, from North Dakota State, and he's another big boy who's gonna push people around.
Whoa.
Yeah, Tyler's a great name, obviously. I was doing a little digging, and it looks like Dallas did have their eyes set on a couple offensive linemen. Obviously, they were taking quick. Once linemen started going off the board, they started going off the board. They thought about taking Tyler Smith, also thought about someone else, but they heard rumors that all these other teams behind them were looking at Tyler Smith, so they pulled the trigger. Last pick we'll go over. Actually, there's 2 I want to go over with you. Round 2, you had Sam Williams, defensive end from Ole Miss, 12 sacks, 16 tackles for a loss. Obviously, you have Lawrence and you have Fowler Jr. You lost.
Randy Gregory.
What was the guy's name you guys lost?
Randy Gregory.
Randy Gregory. So you can kind of do the package where you rotate these guys and you throw in Sam Williams in there. You like this pick?
I do. I mean, Randy Gregory only gave us 5 or 6 sacks last year, so it's not much you got to pick up other than that. I just think you still have guys who can move in. You still got Micah Parsons who can play the line, so you have other guys that can step up and play the line. I think it's a good pick. It's a young kid who has a lot of athletic ability, a lot of bend to his game. He's really fast off the ball. So I think you just picked up another Randy Gregory. I think it's going to help. I really do.
Let me ask you this. Obviously, your next pick we're going to go over is a receiver, but would you have rather seen Dallas take a receiver in round 2 and defensive player in round 3? Or are you okay with that pick, or were you hoping that they would have picked a different position with round 2?
No, I'm glad with what they did because they got the receiver they wanted. They got Jalen Tolbert from South Alabama.
Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. He had 7 games last year with 100 yards receiving. Obviously, you need a receiver. You can throw him in the slot. You got CeeDee Lamb there. Oh. You got Gallup coming back. You got a lot of speed, and there's still some big free agents left. I mean, you can go sign OBJ and get him back in mid-year just to help you.
Yeah, I mean, there's still plenty of time to pick people up. I mean, like I said, we have 20 undrafted free agents we picked up, 7 of them ranked in the top 100. We still have guys last year that we drafted that haven't touched the field yet. So I'm really, really happy with what Dallas did. Is it enough? I don't know. I don't know if it's enough. I mean, everyone has them not even ranked in the top 5 for the NFC. And the Eagles, the Eagles did a great job. The Eagles did a great job in their draft, and all the pressure right now is on Jalen Hurts.
Great draft.
This is Jalen.
They traded number 1. Yeah. I know we're kind of skipping around.
They fleeced the Saints, by the way. I was holding back for forever. I thought they fleeced the Saints.
I'm okay with the Saints. Happy with the Saints. The thing with the Eagles, when I saw my brother text us and he said AJ Brown, Eagles. No, I was like, no.
Howie Roseman, GM of the year.
Real. That can't be real. Well, how about this story? I know I'm gonna get into the Saints picture real quick, but AJ Brown, when he asked for a trade, apparently he cut ties with everything with Tennessee. He was so for, I want to get traded. But never have I would have. They must have had this plan out for a while because the day he got traded, they signed that contract.
Well, they offered him a huge contract. They offered him $16 million a year.
I think it was Ocho Cinco who said this about he said about Nelson Aguilar, I believe, where he said, "Don't sleep on this guy. I know he's been bad, but this is going to be his breakout year." And then he had a really good year, with the Raiders and the Patriots and all this. And he said the same thing about Rieger this year. And I don't know if it's true if Rieger will be good because Rieger's had his struggles. But you look at that wide receiver corpse. Dad, how many times have I told you this? We talked about the Eagles. If they could just get one more receiver with Devontae Smith, and if Rieger can kick it in, they got
Rieger's going to shine. Rieger's going to shine in the slot.
At a tight end. So you got a great tight end. You got a good O-line. Jalen Hurts, all Jalen Hurts got to do is prove it now. Like that is on the East in general because the Redskins got some good players.
Dude, the Giants are a quarterback away. And if they find somehow, some way get Baker Mayfield, look out. That division's going to be crazy.
I just saw that rumor today, and I thought that's crazy because they had a good draft. Yep. Offensive lineman and defensive lineman back-to-back. I think it was vice versa, the defense lineman first. But, all right, let's jump into the Saints real quick. I'll give you guys my – wait, real quick, Dad. If you were to give a grade to all Dallas fans that are listening, I know we got some Dallas fans in England. What is the grade that you were given for the Dallas Cowboys?
I'd say a B to a B plus, me personally. I mean, we got to see how it plays out, but I think we have a lot of good weapons there. The offensive line is going to be the key. If those 2 young kids step up and our offensive line gets a year together and has a good camp and we can get our running game going, that's going to take a lot of pressure off Dak, and I think they're going to have a great year.
I agree. We'll see what happens in the playoffs. Dallas always looks good. Saints, obviously, so this is where I had so many emotions draft nights, guys. I was like, dang, man, the Saints, I got to wait for the Saints. All of a sudden, before my TV even gets to the Saints trade, my phone's blowing up. Oh, my God, Tyler, TK, that's what they call me, TK. Saints are on the board. I said, oh, my gosh. And the first thing I think about is, dang, like they trade into the top 10, 11 pick. I was like, are they really going to draft the quarterback here and not go with Jameis Winston? That's the first thought I thought about. I am so happy Chris Olave fell to us. Mm-hmm. There was multiple times on this podcast I talked about Chris Olave and that I would love to see him with Michael Thomas. They're already practicing together. I don't know if you guys saw the photo. Michael Thomas is already practicing with Chris Olave. I love this pick. We jumped 5 spots up. We've drafted so many Ohio State players. And then we go back in the round 1. We traded up with Washington. We never lost our other round 1 pick. We go get an offensive tackle, Trevor Pennon. Teron Armstead, that was a huge blow because Teron Armstead was an amazing tackle, but he could not stay healthy. So we had a round 2 pick. We got a cornerback for more depth, Alontae Taylor. He posts a video. He's pumped, ready to go to New Orleans, ready to win a Super Bowl. So now we have Lattimore. We got Robbie. We got Paulson Adebo, who was a rookie cornerback last year. Shined. Now you added. Listen, so this is where the Honey Badger comes in, right? The draft, I'm probably going to give us a B+. I can't give us an A because we only had like 4 picks, right? I think it would just be stupid if I gave us an A. Love the draft. We addressed the wide receiver situation. Michael Thomas is coming back. You could still go get Jarvis Landry if you wanted to, just to throw in there. Offensive line help we got to protect Jameis. I love that. I had a lot of emotions going for QBs, but I love that we didn't address the QB situation. We're putting trust in Jameis Winston. Mm-hmm. Then the first thing you see after the draft, New Orleans Saints are going to pursue the Honey Badger again. Woo! 3-year deal. Honey Badger is coming home to New Orleans. Can I just say, Saints defense was amazing last year. I think top 3, number 1 in rush for a long time. Now you throw the Honey Badger in there. Yes, we lost Marcus Williams. We signed Mays, or however I forget if that's his last name, from the Jets, who's a really good safety. Mm-hmm. And then you go get the Honey Badger. We got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Marshawn Lattimore, Cam Jordan on the defensive line. There is so many people on this defense. Demario Davis, the heart and soul, one of the best linebackers in the league, in my opinion. And we have a first-round defensive end that got injured last year, season-ending injury, coming back this year. Like, the Saints defense, in my books, if the Honey Badger comes out, first home opener makes the big play, like, Dad, you know that stadium. You know that crowd. That crowd's crazy.
Yep.
Like, this is the time. Like, I know, Dad, there's been moments where you have looked at Dallas and said, if we're going to win a Super Bowl, this is the team. Well,
and Penning, that Northern Iowa guy seems kind of like a mauler too, sort of
big boy.
The Williams guy that the Cowboys drafted.
Yeah, so like I'm looking at the Saints defense and I'm like, man, like we went 9-8, all because of our defense last year. Sure, our offense helped us. You know, they did their job, scored a couple points. If we have all of our starters this year, if Winston's healthy, if Mike, like looking on paper, like this is the defense that will take us to a Super Bowl. I just need our offense to play well. Because in my opinion, New Orleans is going to have a top 2 defense this year if they play with the potential that they have.
Well, right now I can give you the top 10 grades or what they graded teams after the draft.
By the way, the draft B+, I said that, but off season I'm giving Dennis Allen and Mickey Loomis an A++, 70 mil over the cap. No, but for real though, 70 mil over the cap. You drop all the way down to now you have 30 mil in the cap. You have a good draft. You sign a lot of players, and you go out and get the Honey Badger. Like it's just been amazing off season.
Hopefully you have money to sign these players after a few years. But anyway, the Saints are number 18. They're not even in the top 10. They gave them a grade of a B, which is crazy because I thought they had a good draft. They actually gave the Giants a 22 grade, which I mean that's unreal. So here is your top
22 grade. What do you mean a 22 grade?
They're ranked 22nd of all the teams in the NFL for their draft. I thought they did a great job.
People that have been doing these mock grades have been trash.
That's as reliable as us.
Well,
telling you who we like.
Here you go. Number 10 is the Tennessee Titans. They got an A-. Number 9 is the Seattle Seahawks. They got an A-. Number 8 is the Minnesota Vikings. They got an A-. Number 7 is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They got an A-. So I guess they're all tied for first. The Dallas Cowboys are 6th with an A. The Green Bay Packers are 5th with an A. The Kansas City Chiefs are 4th with an A. The Philadelphia Eagles are 3rd with an A+, which I think they did an amazing job, and I think they're a real threat.
Let me tell you
for
this.
The East.
Sorry, go ahead.
Number 2, real quick, is the Jets with an A+, who had a phenomenal draft. And the number 1 team, your Baltimore Ravens with an A+.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah,
Tyler Linderbaum fell to them all the way at the bottom of the draft.
What do you think? Okay, this is how ridiculous sometimes I think the grades are. Are the Packers a better team coming out of this draft than they were going into it?
No.
Right? I kind of agree with that. You still lost Devontae.
These draft grades, you have to remember when Russell Wilson was drafted by the Seahawks, they gave the Seahawks a D. Look how that turned out.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, they did pick up 3 receivers.
But I think
and the receiver class was really, really good. I mean, and they also picked up offensive line help. They picked up a center and a guard and another offense. They picked up 3 offensive linemen and 3 receivers.
Okay, so they got pretty good depth then overall.
And they still got Aaron.
Hey, by the way, Speaking of how great the Saints offseason is, they have Sonny Michel coming in for an interview, who had an amazing year with the Rams last year. If they could throw him in there somehow, I know we got Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara, but maybe I don't know if Alvin Kamara gets suspended or not. But that's a solid guy to have on your team. Last football thing I have, Magic Johnson and a Sixers co-owner, they have made a bid for the Broncos.
Really?
Yeah, February 1st, the Broncos were up for sale, and they are now starting to look into these bids and trying to wire them down. Magic Johnson, obviously, so I know he owned the Dodgers and the Lakers, but he let one of those go, didn't he?
I don't think he was owner of the Lakers. I think he was GM of the Lakers. I don't think he was owner.
Didn't he own them and step down or something like that? I don't know.
But a lot of these guys aren't 100% owners. They're in a group with a bunch of, like, A-Rod doesn't own the Minnesota team. He's part of a group of people that own him. He's just a big name that's on the paper. You know what I mean?
Why Minnesota, man? What's looking about Minnesota?
Well, he wants to move them, but that's a whole conversation that I don't want to get into.
No, they're saying the chairman of Walmart though is probably going to win that bid.
Really? Well, I did hear that it is highest offer.
I'm surprised Amazon. I'm surprised Amazon's not involved.
As long as
Amazon buys everything anymore.
Obviously, there's a lot going on in football. This has been the craziest offseason. We're still waiting for a lot of dominoes to still fall. NBA playoffs are happening right now. 76ers down 2-0 right now to the Miami Heat. There's a lot to talk about in that. My dad thinks they're dead. I have hope in them.
This is my problem, and this is why I hated that. This is why I hated that trade. I miss Seth Curry. Seth Curry being there with you put Tobias Harris, Seth Curry, Maxey, and Embiid on the floor. My God, they're a dominant duo, a trio, four, or whatever, quadruple, whatever they call them. You have Tyrese Maxey out there who's averaging more points than Harden. I mean, Harden has one game where he scored 20 points or more in the last, 12 or 13 playoff games. He's only had...
That was yesterday.
He only has one game... Well, not actually. He has 0 games where he took more than 20 shots with the Sixers. He's been with the Sixers over 29 games. He is an all-star. He is a guy making max money. He's the guy that needs to step up because Joel Embiid is out, and he's not. And the Sixers have nobody else that can compensate and fill that void. They don't have shooters, and I said this from the start. They don't have shooters. What's his name? Thibault. Great defensive player. Guess what? He's another Ben Simmons. He can't shoot. You're in trouble. They're done. And I said this from the start. We're going to miss those people from the from the trade. Joel Embiid is going to get hurt eventually. He got hurt, and guess what? We have no backup for him. We have Reed, and we have that Jordan guy that what they play him for 4 minutes the other night. It's ridiculous. And Doc Rivers, unfortunately, has to go because he don't know what he's doing either.
It does. Well, no, hold up. To his point, it does seem, because I've heard Jordan come out recently on Twitter or in the media saying how he thinks he could be a 2010 guy on another team, and it's like he's a backup.
Yeah.
But
this is bad.
What are your thoughts on that, though, Ty?
Real quick, Ty. Real quick. The Sixers were outscored 52-19 in last night's game or the night before on the bench. Bench scoring, we have nobody. And why is Green still out there? Green can't hit his shot. Why isn't Korkmaz playing? Well, Korkmaz is a great three-point shooter. This is horrible. They're giving these big-name players who can't play any more time, and they need to park their asses on the bench.
So here's my view on it. My view is I don't think the Sixers are done. I agree. Harden isn't playing up to his ability. This is how I view Harden. Harden is taking on I don't know if he is tired of being the selfish guy that it doesn't work for him because they get to the playoffs, never win. You saw it in Houston. You saw it with the Nets. You saw it wherever he was at. He's scoring points, scored 20 points last night. He's doing this like leader role where he's not shooting a lot. And I need him to be selfish right now because Embiid's not there, right? Mm-hmm. You have Maxey who scored 34 points last night, and you have Tobias Harris who scored 21 points. Like, you have guys around you, but you need to be the guy scoring 34 points with Maxey. I still love this trade. There is Brian Windhorst, or however you say his name, was ESPN's Brian. He was on the First Take, and he said it is extraordinarily likely that Harden is going to opt into his $47.4 million and then negotiate with the Sixers. Harden then on February 15th also said that he plans on opting in for next year. He wants to be a Sixers.
You want to pay him $47 million?
I gave you your turn to talk.
He ain't worth $47 million.
Harden is – I like Harden. I do. I truly believe we won this trade. When you saw Harden come on the Sixers, we played great. We played great all season. Seth Curry and the Nets, they got eliminated. They had Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. All we have is Harden and Embiid. Yes, Embiid might win MVP, but I think the Sixers could still win this. You got 2 games in Philly, but Harden needs to be a little bit more selfish. He needs to shoot more because when he does shoot the 3, he can make it. We saw it yesterday's game. Now, you talk about the bench points. Here's my thing with the Heat. You have Tyler Hero that comes off the bench.
6-man award.
And then will play 2 quarters straight. That man does not miss. Like, when you watch the Heat, Kyle Lowry's not even playing. He's been out with a hamstring injury. These guys do not miss. Jimmy Butler is hot. They have guys that are just shooting threes at awkward angles, and they do not miss. I told you that in the cards today. I don't think the Sixers are playing great, but I don't think they're playing bad. They played such a great first quarter and third quarter yesterday, but you can't take like a lazy, or you can't be like missing your shots for 5 minutes straight because the Heat do not miss. Like, they're going to take off.
That's been the problem. That's been the problem the whole playoffs. We easily could have been down 3-2 against Toronto. We got lucky on an Embiid miracle 3-pointer. They did not. They don't shoot open shots. I mean, they're horrible. Tobias Harris gets hot one day, then he's not. We don't have the consistent scoring. Maxey disappeared against Toronto one game. 2 games later, he's hot again. You need consistent scores, and the Sixers do not have that. You take away, they're double teaming Harden, forcing the ball into other people's hands, and they can't hit them shots. Niang can't hit open 3-pointers. Green shouldn't even get any court time. He needs to go. It's horrible.
See, I like that they're double guarding Harden right now because, number one, you're getting consistent at Harris the past couple of games. Harris is stepping up. He's being a leader. You're seeing him drive to the court. You're seeing him shoot threes and making them.
And they're still losing.
Stepping up and making shots. Danny Green, I agree with you. He's missed shots, but he's also being clutch with some of his 3-point shots. Korkmaz, Doc is starting to throw him in more, and he's making shots. They need to keep him in. I don't think Doc needs to go. I mean, Doc has been with the Sixers, 2 years, and we've been in the playoffs 2 years with him in a row.
Doc's not gonna need to go. They're gonna force him out. He's gonna be gone. They already have him linked to the Lakers and other teams already.
What?
But the problem is you don't have consistent shooting. In the Sixers, I said this from the start when we picked our projections before we even played one game of the playoffs. Sixers don't have guys that can nail shots on a regular. We don't. 10-foot shots missing. And Harden.
My thing with the
Harden needs to give you 25 points a game, Ty.
Yeah, I think if Harden can step it up a little bit more, I think we're definitely still in this.
I guarantee
I also think Doc should keep DeAndre Jordan in the game. Yeah, he might not score a lot of points, but he's a big guy that gets a lot of rebounds. When you watch that Heat game, they put that Reed guy in. Yeah, he's good. He likes to muscle people around, but he misses a lot of rebounds. Keep Jordan in there. Get the rebounds. Pass him back out because that's what you need, a big man. Embiid's not in there right now. It's huge, and they did a lot of alley-oops to him yesterday.
Play back the podcast. I said it was going to kill us. I said we're going to have an Embiid injury, and we don't have a backup to help him.
Listen, all we need to do is win this game Friday and hope that Embiid can clear concussion protocol.
Yeah.
Because if you could take 2 in Philly and then go back to Miami, I think we still got to play 2 games in the Philly crowd. We could do this.
Yeah, but Harden has to turn it around. And this is the same thing they talked about. Charles Barkley and all them talked about it. He disappears when it comes playoff time. And you're going to give this guy $47 million? Nope. Give me Donovan Mitchell. I'll take Donovan Mitchell, who wants to leave Utah. Give me Donovan Mitchell, who's younger, and I'll take him, and he'll give you 20 points a game and give you your assists. He might slack a little bit on defense, but you know what? Harden don't play defense anyway.
Hey, this is my hot take. We're going to go into Philly Friday, and Harden's going to get either 27 or 30 points. We're going to win this game.
Bet. That's a good bet. I think he gets 25 plus.
I think he has to, and I think he knows that. And I think going home in a Philly crowd, you got Jimmy Butler coming back who screwed Philly. They're going to be loud. They're going to want to hate on him. And then you're going to have Harden shine. I think he has to. He has to. He knows that he's not living up to it.
But you know what the problem is too,
He's being too much of a big brother and passing the ball.
You know what the problem is, too? He drives the lane, he throws up a brick, and he looks for the foul, and he sits there and bitches and complains to the referees every drive. Yeah. He's not the same guy he was. This guy is 32 years old. His years are behind him already. It's time to move on. That was a bad trade. The Sixers are known to do this.
That wasn't a bad trade.
This is as bad as the Jimmy Butler trade. When we brought Jimmy Butler in, we did nothing with him, and we let him walk. This is horrible.
We literally flipped Harden for Curry, and they're both around the same age. Now, crap, man, I really want
Curry
to say
scores more points.
You don't have Curry, though.
I wanted to say something. I don't remember.
But you don't have Curry either anymore.
Look, Curry's
at home sitting on the couch, though.
But if we had Curry right now, if Curry wasn't a part of that trade, if we had Curry, Harden, Tobias Harris, and Maxey on the field with the center, Different story.
I totally agree with you.
Different story. Now you have guys that can shoot.
I still love the trade, though.
But when you put Danny Green in and you put Thibault in, who can't give you any points, and then you have Niang, who scores a miracle 3 every now and then after he throws up 15, well, 3 for 15 is not going to help you. Sixers aren't going anywhere. I'm sorry. They might win a game.
Oh, I wanted to say we were talking about the officiating before we got on the podcast. I think it's just all of the games in the playoffs. I agree with you. Harden does throw up his hands a lot, but man, I don't know if it's because Miami was home. I'm not giving the Sixers an excuse here, but man, you see sometimes Thibault, especially, who's great on defense. He would hit all ball. Ref blows the whistle, and it's like, what are you looking at? I mean, heck, you could just drive to the. I know we've talked about this multiple times, but you see it. Guys just drive to the rim. You hear them yell because everything's mic'd up nowadays. And the refs call whistle, and then you look at the replay call. There's no contact, and then you have Harden.
It's terrible.
I've watched Harden multiple times drive to the rim. They hit his arms, and the refs don't call anything. And I'm like, the NBA bothers me. Like I know the NFL bothers me with flags, but man, like in every basketball game now, man, you just drive to the rim. It's a foul. You can't just get a clean block anymore.
No, and
I said it before we came on too. The Draymond Green. It was a loose ball at the end of the game in game 2 against the Warrior or against the Grizz, and it was Draymond Green and Morant coming, and it was like behind them, and Morant clearly flopped to fall down, gave them the ball back, but they ended up winning off that.
Yeah,
and like
crazy.
Morant again to score did that huge cradle. He basically cradled the ball.
Saw that. It's travel.
Yeah, it's a complete travel, or what I think it's a.
He picks it up real nice and tall and then does it again.
He takes like 2. Yeah, it was like a hybrid steps. But what I wanted to ask, based off officiating, did you guys think there was a difference? Do you guys think so? Dylan Brooks, I don't know if you saw it, but Dylan Brooks grabbed Peyton from behind. He fell,
suspended
himself. But then Draymond Green grabs a dude, but then also grabs his jersey.
Tried to help him, catch him.
Which were more egregious though, because they both got the same, but one's suspended.
I think the Brooks one was a little bit more extreme because you're the guy that I think he was going for a dunk, and the way you hit him, you basically you hit him in a way where he can't catch himself now, and you saw the way he landed on his arm. It looked bad.
Look, Draymond was definitely a technical, a flagrant foul, but not a flagrant foul 2. I mean, he could have let that guy fall to the ground. He actually tried to help him from falling to the ground. I don't think and he got fined $25,000 for flicking off the crowd too. But I just
isn't that crazy that we live in a world that if you flick off the crowd you get fined?
Yeah, that's how the end of NBA makes
I think
the money.
Draymond just took an elbow to the face too. He had a bloody eye, didn't he?
Yeah.
The game 2, yeah.
Dude, and that's another thing.
Officiating's been terrible.
That's another thing I want to talk about. Doc Rivers should be fired for his stupidity when we were up, 30 points against Toronto, and he had Embiid in there, and Siakam came down and elbowed him intentionally in the face and didn't get no kind of foul at all called for that? That's on Doc Rivers. You're up 30. Why are your guys in with 3 minutes to go in the game?
Like if I know, man, all I know is this is all I'm saying to you guys. If Embiid comes back with a mask on, it's game over.
Batman.
It's game over.
I don't know, Ty.
Batman.
I think if they lose tomorrow, I don't think Embiid's coming back. I think he's out for the rest of the year. Even if they win tomorrow.
I think he will.
Even if they win tomorrow, I think he's done.
There's some Philly history where you've seen 3-0 comebacks. We've seen it with the Flyers and they won the Stanley Cup. I'm saying, man, that'd be something sick if you saw Embiid come with a clear mask on, man. They go out and win this series.
Problem is we got to find shooting.
No.
Bring Isaiah Joe in. Bring somebody else in because the guys that are on the floor aren't really doing it. It's not consistent.
And you put Korkmaz in for more because he could shoot well. He was shooting. He created a couple threes actually.
Like watching some of these games, ball movement is so key too, and that's one of the reasons the Mavs can't hang with the Suns at all.
Well, the problem is that we're going to have with the Sixers if they do pick up that $47 million contract, you're going to have 3 guys combined making over $119 million. Guess what? Tobias Harris is going to be the guy that's out. You're going to let him walk or trade him.
We signed him 2 years ago?
But Ty, with the way the salary cap is, you can't keep all them players. There's no way. 3 players are going to account for 119 of what the $130+ million salary cap. There's no way you can keep them. Guess what? They're going to trade Tobias Harris, and now what? You're stuck with James Harden, who's 32 years old, who could retire in a couple years. Horrible.
Last thing I'm going to ask you guys with basketball. I mean, do you give props to James Harden because you look at Maxey, who's 21, and since the emergence of James Harden, Maxey is absolutely shining. I mean, James Harden's taken a liking to him. He's been training him. I mean, Maxey scored 34 points last night. He's 21 years old. I mean, he wasn't scoring points like that before Harden got there. I can tell you that.
But he has to. He has to step up and score the points because what? They're taking Harden out of the game.
I know, but you give props to Harden for helping him with that. I mean, giving him advice and teaching him.
Well, he should. I mean, you're one of the elders of the game. I mean, you should be working with the younger guys. You should see more of that. Tobias Harris is another one that works with him. I mean, he's the future of the team.
But honestly, that makes the Timberwolves season next year looking a little bleak too, because we got some guys that are up for some max contracts and not likely to return either. So, and I don't know. It's tough to decide on. It'd be cool to see the Bucks make it back to the finals. That's all I'm rooting for.
I picked Miami. I picked Miami to go all the way, and I just think that they're a tough team. They got 5 guys that give you 20 points a night. I mean, you can't stop that. You know, you shut one down, you still have other guys that can score. And unfortunately, I just think the Sixers had a better team before the trade.
Well,
and
we haven't even talked about Boston yet, and I think they had the best, if not one of the best, second half records in the NBA.
Absolutely.
So, and they're tied with the Bucks.
Yeah. Well, I got to do a little homework on Boston, but let's take it home with some baseball. Ace, give us your take on the Twins. Obviously, they're 15-10 right now, first in the AL Central.
7th in team ERA.
We got a stud closer, Duran. We got a decent bullpen. I know I was complaining about getting rid of Rogers at the start of the season. I still am. He is, FYI, leading the majors in saves, or up there for sure. I think he's 1 or 2, depending what stats have changed recent the games. So I like the Twins' outlook, though. They're getting Buxton, Correa both hitting, playing defense well.
We called that too. We all called that.
In a very weak division.
Coming back to life, yeah.
It's funny, like one week we're talking about how bad our teams are, and now our teams are legit.
We wanted to go to the minor league game down in St. Paul, which is like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes from where the Twins play. So it's the Saints playing St. Paul, the AAA team. Yeah. Ended up raining out. They didn't really tell us until you got there. But
that's great.
They're going to have a solid team too. And it's good to know that like the core of what will be the Twins is all of like 20 minutes from each other. So if they needed to call people up, recall, it's not like you got to hop on a plane, anything like that. So
the thing that's amazing with the Twins, though, your run differential is plus 24. You've only allowed 83 runs in the season. That's second best right now in the American League, behind the number 1 team, the Yankees, who only allowed 79 runs this year with a run differential of plus 49.
I was going to get that. Our starting pitching has like been an absolute surprise, and we haven't. What's ironic is we haven't had that Sonny Gray who we got from the Reds either. He's actually going to be pitching rehab in AAA coming up. So
once you get him, too, that'd be huge.
You have any more stats?
You got this. You got the 7th best ERA right now in baseball at a 3.30 ERA. The Dodgers lead the way with a 2.21. The Yankees are second with a 2.60, which is that's really surprising. And that's what's helping the Yankees out is their pitching. Milwaukee is third right now with a 3.09. Cardinals 3.20. Houston, Tampa Bay, and the Mets and Giants and Mariners round out the top 10.
Round out the top 10.
What about the Yankees, man? The Mets, man, 18-7, 18-9. Like that's give it up for the Yankees, man. I mean, they just beat
New York
Toronto.
Is back.
They won that series. I mean, Judge is like everyone. Like you can run through the Yankees lineup, and 90% of that lineup is batting well. You know, Josh Donaldson's still struggling. Gallo's slowly getting his batting average up, but man, dude, like even Hicks, his on base percentage is 397, man. Like we just have some studs.
Connor Cleffa has really stepped up.
295 he's batting, man. Anthony Rizzo was I don't know if he still is, but he was leading the league in home runs. Like this team, man, like what happened? Like 1 minute and I feel like I kind of called that. Like I said, hey, it's early. Like let's hope this team molds. I mean, you have had the conversation that they probably still will fall eventually because when you have a team that's full of power hitters, they're gonna get hot and they're gonna get cold. No.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, the Yankees right now are tied for first in home runs with 35 with Milwaukee, and everyone is clicking right now.
35 already?
Yeah, Stanton's
With
clicking.
Milwaukee?
Yeah, with Milwaukee. Stanton's
Wow.
clicking. Judge is clicking right now. Judge has like a 9 or 10 game hit streak. Rizzo's
Judge
clicking.
and Rizzo have 9 home runs.
Connor Calefo's hitting. So the thing is Glaber's starting to get hitting. But the thing is, like you said, you got these big name batters that hit like 40, 50 home runs that tend to strike out 100 to 200 times a year. So, you're on that roller coaster ride, and we lost last night 2-1, and hopefully that doesn't start a trend. We go into a series with Texas next, where they're the second worst team in baseball, so we should sweep that series. But they just came off of sweeping the Phillies, which isn't saying much. But we'll see how it plays out, because then we play 2 more against Toronto, which are huge, because your 3-game lead can go down to 1 game if you lose those 2 games with Toronto.
Yeah, and what would be huge, too, is if we do start to struggle, that Josh Donaldson and Joey Gallo step it up, and we'll pray about that one, because I don't know if that one will happen.
And by the way,
I'm excited, man.
With the Twins, it's crazy. Their run differential is that good, but they're only batting .235 as a team, which is really, really crazy.
Yeah, I was going to say, the offense has been shaky outside of a handful.
Hey, Anthony Rizzo, home run derby this year? Like, Aaron Judge, MVP?
Wait,
wouldn't that be crazy? Aaron Judge declines the Yankees option, then wins MVP and just goes into a different team.
Right now
they need the Yankees to do well too.
Colorado Rockies. CJ Cron is leading actually he's tied for first with Judge, Rizzo, with 9 home runs. So those are your top 3 right there. And then Willy Adames is third with 8 home runs. Yonder Alvarez is fourth with 8 home runs. So between 9 to 7 is sixth place. So Kyle Schwarber's up there with 7. So yeah, right now the Yankees are doing really good with their power hitters.
Yeah, man. You know who was hot too for a while too? The Marlins. That one was shocking. I mean, they're 12-12 now, but Ace, your division, man, is up for grabs. I mean, you got the Guardians, who are 3.5 back. They're only 11-13. The White Sox, which is shocking, and I think that they will get hot. They're 11-13. Detroit 8-15. Kansas City 8-15. Like, nothing crazy. Have you guys seen some of those city uniform concepts that are out? Like the Astros, as much as I hate the Astros, theirs are sick.
No, they put out we should link to that.
FYI, yeah, the White Sox have all black with white pinstripes and it says Southside on them. Those ones are really nice. The Nationals have like one that has like Nationals are interesting. Like there's a couple teams that have some city uniforms. I think it's the AL West or the NL West. It's the AL West. That looks like a good division too, because the Angels are playing really well for once after we just had our man on last week. Was that last week we had him on?
Last week.
I think so.
Yes, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, man. You have the Angels playing well. Houston obviously 14-11. What?
That was last week. But anyway,
it feels like a lifetime ago.
Keep an eye on Boston, because Xavier Bogaerts and Rafael Devers both were offered extensions, and they both thought they were disrespected, and they didn't sign them. So there could be some moving coming on. And Boston is what, like 7 games back already, 8 games back already. So just keep an eye on teams like that might be willing to trade at the trade deadline.
City Connect uniforms.
They're nice, right?
Yeah. Oh, the first one is the White Sox.
I don't see the Yankees ever doing one. Yankees are too old school.
No, they're stuck in their ways besides their management. But anyway, what's the biggest surprise right now in baseball with you? I mean, my biggest surprise was my World Series pick, Chicago White Sox.
Man, I think there's a lot of shocks. To me, I mean, seriously, I think it's the Yankees and Mets. I mean, New York, man. I mean, they're killing it right now. I mean, they're right there for both having the best record in baseball. And it's crazy.
That is a great point. I think knowing that you had pitchers on the Mets coming, you sort of I guess you still didn't know what to expect. But getting Scherzer certainly helped. And because DeGrom hasn't really, I don't think he hasn't played all year yet, I don't believe.
That's crazy.
Then you have guys like Bumgarner who have an ERA like 1.7 who just rejuvenated their freaking career.
He's getting dealt.
You have Pittsburgh. You have Pittsburgh, who's above Chicago and Cincinnati in their division. That's a shocker. Pittsburgh in third place. And then my biggest shock too is I picked the AL East to be the best division, and it's actually the West. I mean, you got Arizona, who's in last place, only 4.5 games out. That is a tight race all the way through.
Ace, I told my dad today, I feel like the Cardinals are one of the laughing stock. Not the Cardinals. The Diamondbacks are one of the laughing stocks of MLB. Like, when's the last time you saw the Diamondbacks good?
Yeah.
Like, you don't hear anything about the Diamondbacks. Like you hear Miami getting better every year. Like, Miami's like, they're doing well right now in their division.
Do you remember when they had Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling?
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
They beat the Yankees in the World Series.
That was like 15, 20 years ago.
1996, I believe, wasn't it?
Like, I feel like the Diamondbacks remind me of the Pirates. Like, you see some good players go to the Diamondbacks, and then they're like usually dealt.
Yeah, the thing.
Well, the Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt started his career with the Diamondbacks, got dealt to St. Louis. I think so. It's Pittsburgh. I think I know they have a great record, but their payroll is a joke. Oakland, Diamondbacks,
did you see
Baltimore
Oakland's fan base? Oakland can barely fill a stadium now. Like, they literally had minor league stadiums were having more attendance than the Oakland.
Bananas. Shout out Savannah Bananas.
They sell out.
Oh, I love that. I saw the whole story on them. That's crazy.
Wait, you just now know about the Savannah Bananas?
I've been seeing like little videos about them, and I saw the whole story, how the guy and his wife went down there and they just bought the organization and bought the stadium, and they went to a meet and greet, and only like 100 people showed up, and you're like, oh, this is gonna fail. Yeah, that's a great story.
We sent you some photos. We were trying to get some guys on because there's some minor leaguers that will play with them until their season starts. But that's like high competitive ball, but they also entertain the crowd. But it's not like, because you see videos of them entertaining the crowd, but that's like
dancing while they pitch and stuff. Yeah. They say it's really good baseball.
Yeah, it is.
Dude, I gotta tell you, the only thing that sucks about being outside is the damn mosquitoes.
Can you feel them?
Yeah.
So I forgot to mention, Twins, the head coach, and 2 players tested positive for COVID, so they are not with us.
I forgot about that word.
1 million people.
Right?
1 million people passed away from COVID, and now they say it's only 367 people a day are dying of COVID. But 1 million people. We hit that milestone yesterday.
Wait.
Crazy.
I want to see the stats on what the age range was, what the health range was. Like, I want to see those stats first.
But all you people that invested in Moderna for that stock, boy, that stock's going up. Crazy people, man.
Well, as we bring this podcast to an end, is there any last remarks that you guys would like to say?
Yeah, screw the government.
Yeah, for real, man. Gas is high. Living on, like, trying to get a house is high.
Dude, gas, electric, everything's going through the roof. They're making it that you can't live no more. That's what it's coming down to.
Yeah, I know, man.
They might take everything away, but we will still podcast.
If you guys don't have anything left, we'll bring this one down. I hope you guys have enjoyed our lovely voices. If you've made it this far, Ace still looks like a beautiful substitute teacher over there.
Music.
Up on YouTube. Got a Facebook page, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all of the above. We love you guys, and we will see you guys next time.
Peace.